Now, when it comes to the title of what's the best Sonic cutscene out of all of his games, there are so many valid answers. Like genuinely, you got the Unleashed intro sequence, best 3D animation in the series, Sonic CD's intro sequence, best 2D scene in the series, Black Knight's ending, one of the best written, Sonic 06 and this Mephiles and Shadow confrontation, one of the coolest. This stock video of the subscribe button, this is not one of them. And this could go on. There are a lot of contenders for favorite cutscene in the franchise that you could tell me and I'd go, yep, that's valid. Sonic Adventure 2 is no exception. In Sonic Adventure 2, you got the beautiful Sayonara ending that parallels what Maria last told him. You got the iconic I found you faker speech. You got the moment Gerald admitted to wanting to kill everyone. That was a nice one. You got Eggman's announcement speech and blowing up the moon. You got the moment Sonic and Shadow meet for the first time. And I mean, I could go on. There's a lot of valid answers from the game. One of my personal favorites that I don't see getting mentioned enough is the Sonic vs. Shadow arc cutscene. I don't know if there's an actual name for it. I just originally guessed it was called something like the final confrontation, but it seems like there's no name for it. And because the final confrontation sounds cooler, I'm gonna just call it the final confrontation. All right, to properly set up the final confrontation moment, there's a couple other moments to talk about that make that final confrontation feel earned. The first being when Sonic and Shadow first meet. You see, when Sonic and Shadow first meet, it begins immediately with Shadow flexing his Chaos Emerald. That's when Sonic hears Shadow, accuses him, and runs towards Shadow in a disarray as he figures out that the military has been chasing after him for everything Shadow has been doing. And how does Shadow respond? By not responding, just completely ignoring him. You gotta understand, he's the ultimate life form, a highly trained professional. He doesn't have time for this, and so he scurries away, thinking the blue hedgehog is a waste of time, and the cutscene ending with Sonic being falsely prosecuted and sent to prison. After all that, Sonic goes to prison on some island, and Shadow wants to blow up some island. Completely unrelated, I promise you. This is then when we find out that they are not unrelated, really? After a couple more story stuff, while Sonic is escaping prison and Shadow is going off to save Rouge, their paths just so happen to cross again. And this time, Shadow's tone changes. Instead of immediately underestimating Sonic, not acknowledging him, and then just getting on with his day, this time he can't ignore him. Not only because Sonic makes sure this time he can't run away, but also because Sonic calls Shadow out on his debauchery. Am I using that word right there? I don't know. He just calls him out on his BS. Calling Shadow the fake, the imitation, absolutely leaves Shadow perplexed. This random dude is comparing himself to the ultimate life form, when the most he's seen from this random dude is get himself caught by the cops. He is nothing to Shadow. Sonic then challenges him and a fight ensues. And after a very tough battle of mashing A, the two are left tired out and in a stalemate. The fight isn't over, but both equally match themselves thus far. But before the fight can continue, it felt like they were missing something.
Shadow, what are you doing? Hurry and get back here right now before the island blows up with you on it!
Blows up?
Alright, seems like this battle will have to be held off for another time. See, this fight they couldn't finish. The first confrontation was Shadow barely acknowledging Sonic and then leaving. The second was kind of a duel, but it ended in a stalemate. This leads us into the final confrontation. After a couple other story shenanigans, we arrive at the arc where Eggman threatens the hero team with a gun to Amy's head. They did what? Threatened them to come to his location and give him their emeralds. After a charming little quip from Sonic, boom, Eggman traps him. This is where he tricks Tails into telling him it was a fake emerald Sonic was planning on giving him. And because there is no need for Sonic to remain there as he has a fake emerald and is a constant annoyance to him, he sends him off into space to die. Well, not right before Sonic says his final goodbyes to them, and Tails has the fact that he indirectly killed his best friend permanently ingrained into his consciousness. This leads us into an intense battle between Eggman and Tails, but that is not the point of today's video. Because before Sonic dies and leads Tails down his Ronin/9 arc, it turns out he had survived through the power of a fake emerald using an ability he didn't have full information about. I mean, really, I cannot stress this enough. He was winging it. This is where he decides to go to the Eclipse Cannon and stop it before it's too late. But he isn't the only one heading towards there, as over on Shadow's side of things, he's being told someone is heading towards the cannon now, and he's gotta stop him as soon as possible. He knows it's not Sonic, as he watched Sonic blow up in space. He was just a regular hedgehog after all. He couldn't have survived that. Whoever was heading to that Eclipse Cannon was already doomed. In both stories, this is the part where you go through both stories' final levels as a race to the Eclipse Cannon begins. And this leads us to
You never cease to surprise me, Blue Hedgehog.
Is that a compliment from Shadow? This is the moment the game has been leading up to. A final fight between the two without any interruptions. However, this starts with a genuine conversation between the two. There's so much to love about this scene, but the way Shadow switches on Sonic is one of my favorite parts about it. After Sonic presumably dies, he still ends up being right there next to Shadow. He survived. How? By using the power of Chaos Control, of course, but with a fake emerald. Shadow acknowledges how impressive it is. This is the point where he's now earned Shadow's respect. Before, Shadow had thought of Sonic as some cheap imitation, but by now it's been made clear that there's more to Sonic than that. The mysterious, interesting figure is no longer Shadow, it is Sonic. What is Sonic? Who is Sonic? How did he survive? These are questions that flow through Shadow's head, but this time, Sonic isn't gonna give a direct answer, no. This time, Shadow is out of the loop. Now by this point, they have been jogging for a bit. Genuine conversation and curiosity now turn to amusement. Shadow gets what Sonic is now, but it doesn't matter. They both knew where it was going from the beginning. We all knew what was coming. Sonic needs to stop that Eclipse Cannon, and Shadow needs to make sure it goes off. They are on opposing sides, and both must stop each other from fulfilling the other's job. They start running, and it becomes clear the fight is inevitable. This is one of my favorite cutscenes of all of Sonic. I know the build-up might have seemed longer than the actual payoff, but in my opinion, the build-up is necessary to explain why I love this cutscene so much. It's a payoff to a rivalry set up throughout the entire game. The way Shadow's perspective on Sonic has clearly changed by this point from thinking he is nothing to respecting him as a rival. The way Sonic constantly responds with a cocky, positive attitude. The tension building in this scene too is so good. I love it so much. The way the music builds up more and more as the tension between these two go from genuine conversation back to opposing sides ready to fight. The way they go from walking to jogging to running as the tension gets higher and higher. This is the final battle for both stories, and it's a wonderful payoff to what was a really cool rivalry. It's a scene that I really wish was referenced more. I was kinda sad that Sonic Movie 3 didn't reference it in any way, as when I think of any Sonic and Shadow confrontation, one of the first things to pop up in my head is this song playing while the two slowly run to catch up to each other's speed. It's a really great scene, and all I'm saying is that it should be talked about more. In my opinion, of course. That's just me, alright? You know, I'm not trying to step on any toes. As always, it's just my opinion. If I had to criticize some things, the obvious choice would be the it's the audio mix, the audio mixing. I can't hear myself talk. I'm sorry. What? And also the fact that the camera turns to show how fast they're really running. It looks so silly the way they're running, and it tends to remove a lot of tension from the original scene. And the audio mixing. The audio mixing. Even while keeping those two things in mind though, I still really love this moment. Anyways, yeah, the final confrontation from Sonic Adventure 2 is one of my favorite moments from the Sonic series, period. I think that's about all I have to say for today, so yeah, bye.